Good morning, everyone. My name is Fikretta. I'm a caseworker here at Dreamers Together, and I am going to be on today for about half an hour or so, answering any general questions you may have about the adjustment of status process. Just please keep in mind that if you have any DACA related questions or AP, just head on over to that group, okay? How are you all doing today? To all our viewers on the West Coast, definitely stay safe. As you know, we had read earlier that there may have been some bad weather coming that way. Hi, Vanessa. How are you? Okay, so again, I'm going to be on for about half an hour or so answering any general AOS questions that you may have, okay? And I just want to make you all aware that they are still issuing RFEs for anyone that is asking to be exempt from the traditional I-864 based on the fact that you have 10 years and 40 credits. So don't be alarmed when this happens. If you choose to be exempt on page 8, you mark the exempt option, and with your packet you submit all your EAD cards front and back and your SSA statement. Now you run into an issue where you end up with an RFE. Just answer that RFE. Follow the directions and take that page 8 where you were asking for the exemption, your SSA statement. We also have a cover letter under guides in our Facebook group. Add the cover letter, the SSA statement, page 8 asking to be exempt to your RFE, and upload it into your USCIS account. That way the officer will have direct access to it. It's not necessarily the officers themselves that are issuing these RFEs. It can be the contracting agency that's responsible for, opening these packages, reviewing them, and uploading them. They may very well just be automatically be looking for an I-864, and they don't see it, and they issue you an RFE. Just please keep in mind that, you have to make sure you are eligible for the 10 years and the 40 credits, by, reviewing your SSA statement, checking all your EAD cards. And if you're not sure, go into our, AOS group and post your SSA statement in there, or at least the years and the amounts, and we'll be able to let you know if you have the 10 years and the 40 credits. So again, they are still issuing RFEs for anyone that wants to be exempt from filing the traditional 864. Just answer that RFE, cover letter, SSA statement, page 8 of the I-485 where you ask to be exempt, upload it into your USCIS account, and that way the officer will have direct access. Okay, let's see here. Hello, Maribel. Let's see. Then we have Roberto. My teammate Ellie is not on today for the questions in Spanish, so if you can put them in English, I will definitely be able to answer them for you. Hi, Roberto. I wish I could do AOS already, but so taking forever. Okay, so, what is taking forever? Are you waiting to, get your AP approved? Did you not do your AP yet? Why is AOS taking forever? Why is your AOS journey taking forever, Roberto? Okay. Hello, Princess Lara. Hi. Let's post this question. Hi, is there an extension to my DACA after it expires? I'm worried about getting terminated. Mine is about to expire soon. Okay, Princess, like I said, I am on today just to answer the general to our DACA group, and they'll be able to help you out in answering that question. But I will tell you this: if anyone's cards are about to expire, please renew them ASAP. Roberto, AP taking a while. Unfortunately, yes, it can take anywhere to 3 to 6 months. So, unfortunately, you just have to be patient and wait for that AP to be approved so you can get your legal entry. Hello, Maria. Maria Sanchez. If my husband is my sponsor, do I need an employment verification and W-2 for me? Okay, so your husband's going to file the I-864, okay? And If he needs to combine incomes, then that's when you would come into play, Maria, and you would submit your W-2. And you can also submit an employment verification letter and your ED card. But if you do not need to combine incomes, your spouse makes plenty on his own, do not add any more paperwork in if it's not necessary, okay? So if you're combining incomes because your spouse does not make enough for your household, then you don't need, if you are combining incomes because your spouse does not make enough for the household, then yes, you would have to, supply your W-2, your EAD card, your 2024 tax return transcripts. But if your spouse makes enough on his own, there's no need for your financial information. And also, if you would like to know, how much your petitioning sponsor needs to make, you can literally go into the USCIS website and type in I-864P, and it'll pop up with the household and how much your petitioner needs to make for that household size. Hello, Maribel. I got my green card and my social security card in the mail. Do I still need to get the social security office? Do I still need to go to the social security office to let them know I became a permanent resident? No, you do not need to go to the social security office to let them know you became a permanent resident, because they have mailed you your social security card, so they know. Okay, Roberto. So your AP has been pending for 6 months. Okay, so again, this is it's just general questions for AOS. So head on over, and see maybe if you have a option to expedite it, which will be able to help you out with that. Schedule a consultation. Since it's been 6 months already, let's see what our advanced parole team can do for you. They are great. If they can help you out, if they think you can expedite, they'll let you know. If not, they'll let you know either way. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Castillo. If I forget to submit my speeding ticket citation on my I-864, should I bring it up at my interview? Okay. So your speeding ticket citation, it should be documented on your I-485. Okay. Sometimes, people forget because they were under $500. So in this instance, if you forgot, just take your speeding ticket citation with you, the proof that it was resolved. And when you're asked at your interview, have you ever been arrested or charged? Let them know you've never been arrested, but you do have a speeding ticket that you did pay. If it's under 500, you don't have to show them proof, but if it's over 500, you have to take proof with you that it was resolved. Again, if you forget to note it on your I-485, take proof with you that that ticket was resolved, and at your interview, when you're asked, have you ever been arrested, cited, or charged, let them know you've never been arrested, but you were cited for a ticket, and here's the proof that it was paid. That way you're being honest. Hello, Maria Sanchez. My appointment is Friday for AOS. He makes enough. I didn't turn in 2024 taxes, so I'm taking them. Okay, yes, take them with you. If you didn't turn in the 2024 taxes for your petitioning spouse and he makes enough, just take the taxes with you. You can also take some more recent pay stubs with you as well to show them, if they ask for his taxes and the pay stubs. So I'm assuming you turned in 2023 taxes with that application. So take your 24 and give them to the officer so that way they don't RFE you for the 24. Princess Lara, they received my renewal in June 11th and it's been in review since. So is there anything I could tell my employer if I haven't received that? And again, these questions our DACA group can help you with. There are plenty of individuals in there that have been through what you're talking about, Princess. So head on over there and they'll be able to help you out, okay? You're welcome, Maribel. Yes, Castillo, I definitely know that you meant the I-485. It was under 500, just still let them know. If they ask you, have you ever been arrested, cited, or charged? I have not been arrested, but I was cited with a ticket under 500. It was paid in full. That way you are honest. You're welcome, Castillo. Okay, hello, Alex. Can a wet, reckless misdemeanor conviction have someone detained at their interview? I would definitely say if you are concerned, definitely reach out to one of our attorneys. They'll be able to answer that question for you, because I know we live in unprecedented times right now, and everything can be worrisome, but you know they'll be better at assisting you once they take a look at your wet, reckless misdemeanor. So just to make sure, better safe than sorry, just contact one of our attorneys and they'll further let you know. Hello, Elizabeth. My DACA expires on January. Do you think it's time to renew it? Okay, again, that is a DACA question. You would head on over to our DACA Facebook group and they will be able to answer that. But yes, ideally, if your DACA is expiring in January, definitely renew it. It is time to renew. Okay. Yes. We don't have anything else for now. And again, if you have any DACA related questions, just head on over to our DACA Facebook group. If you have any, concerns about your Social Security statement, you can definitely ask in our group. Just obviously keep your names out of whatever document you want to show us. And again, I just want to let you know they are still definitely issuing interviews. Whether it be a child petitioning for their parent or a spouse petitioning for their spouse, they are issuing interviews for everyone, okay? And again, for these interviews, just, sit down with your spouse. If it's a spouse-to-spouse case, or if it's a parent petitioning for a child petitioning for their parent, just sit down and review those packets, guys, okay? And then just take all your originals with you. And you may take for parent, for spouse to spouse, you may take extramarital evidence with you. So really just sit down and review those packets, all of the questions, and take, originals like the birth certificates, passports, I-94s, all that, take it with you. And obviously some more updated marital evidence. Hello, Maria. For question 76, my preparer marked no, but I came in at 2 and got DACA at 17, no inspection. Should that be a yes? Okay. If you are referring to the I-485, then on page 21, item 76, that is what you're referring to. So if you came in without inspection and you had no status until the time you got DACA, then you did accrue some unlawful presence. So on page 21, item 76 would be a yes, but this is just some advice. I don't know your case, but ideally, if you come in without inspection, you would have started accruing lawful presence the first day you came in all the way to the day before you got DACA. So if you came in without inspection and you marked yes, and you had no status until you got DACA, then you must have accrued some unlawful presence. So, obviously it's a yes, but that is up to you to make sure. And if your packet was submitted and that question was supposed to be a yes, then definitely clarify with the officer when you get there, okay? Hello, Erica. I'm going to do AOS through my daughter. She's a student. I have my 40 credits. Do I need to only fill the I-864, and what proof of income do I need? Okay. If you have your 10 years and 40 credits, Erica, you don't need to fill out an I-864, okay? You ask for that exemption on the I-485 on page 8. Okay, you ask to be exempt because you have, based on having the 40 credits. Then, step 2, you would make a copy of all your EAD cards, front and back, add it in your packet. And step 3, your So again, if you have the 10 years and the 40 credits, you don't need to fill out an I-864. You ask for the exemption on page 8 of the I-485. You add in your EAD cards front and back and your Social Security statements. Hello, Ellie. A friend wants to petition mom. The petitioner is a citizen. Mom came to the U.S., no legal entry. She is living in Mexico for more than 10 years now. Can she adjust? Okay, a friend can't just petition for your mom, okay? It has to be a U.S. citizen child or a U.S. citizen spouse. It can also be a green card holder spouse. Um, oh, wait a minute, but you're saying that a friend wants to petition mom. The petitioner is citizen. Mom came to the U.S., no legal entry. She is living in Mexico for more than 10 years now. Okay, so is your mom, was she, if she was here before she left, there are a lot of circumstances that depend whether a person has multiple entries or not, and no one can just, it can't just be anyone that's going to petition for your mom. Secondly, it has to be a U.S. citizen spouse or a daughter. Okay, so her daughter's going to petition for her. Okay, and she doesn't have a legal entry, so if she's in Mexico, then yeah, you can petition for her. That would be consular processing. Um, you know, we don't handle those. That's out of our scope for now, but we have great attorneys that do, okay? Oh, she is here in the US, but she was living in Mexico for 10 years. So you would like, your mom has a daughter that's going to petition for her, and your mom came to the US, but she has no legal entry, correct? If your mom does not have a legal entry, or your friend's mom does not have a legal entry, then um, your friend cannot petition for her mother. Your friend's mom needs a legal entry, and once she has that legal entry, um, obviously depending on the circumstances, prior circumstances, then her child, her U.S. citizen child, 21 or older, and her spouse, a U.S. citizen, can petition for her. Again, your friend's mom needs that legal entry in order for her U.S. citizen daughter or U.S. citizen spouse to petition for her. Was I able to clarify your question and answer, Ellie? And also, guys, I just want to remind you that we have a cover letter. Anytime you are putting your packet together, um, download our cover letter from the guides. It will definitely be a big help. It's basically letting USCIS know why you're submitting the packet and what is included in the packet. And it will definitely be a big help when you're also assembling your packet. And also, when you do book packet reviews with us, please, please, please download our cover letter, work on it before you submit your packet. That way, you'll make sure you have a cover letter to it. And then when we sit down and review it, we can review the cover letter, what's in there, and then it'll be easier for you to understand how you have to assemble your packet and what needs to be added in your packet by following your cover letter. Hello, Ismail. Let's see. Sister will be my sponsor financially. Does her husband need to be added to affidavit? Joint taxes. If your sister, if she makes enough, then no, her husband does not need to be added. She is your joint sponsor. If she doesn't make enough, then he can be like an additional joint sponsor. Okay, Ellie, let's see. The daughter is a U.S. citizen. The mom came to the U.S. and left back to Mexico and is living there for more than 10 years. The daughter is here but wants a petition for her. So your mom, I'm sorry. So the daughter's mom was previously in the U.S. and left. And she's been living there for more than 10 years. And now her daughter wants a petition for her. Okay. So again, there are some more questions that need to be asked here. That way, you know, did you basically, your mom was here and how long she was here for, and then she left, and did she trigger that 10-year bar, and now she served her 10-year bar abroad? Now the daughter can petition for her. Those cases, yes. But again, that is consular processing. Just head on over and grab our attorney lists and, contact McLean. They'll be able to help you with that question because they're going to have some more questions just to make sure that, there aren't any other underlying issues here, okay? Hello, Yezel. Is there any video to help fill out the I-45? I'm really confused. I'm applying through my 21-year-old daughter, and I already have my 40 credits. We are working on the I-485 video, so bear with us, and we have some tips, and so just go over into our AOS Facebook group and look for those tips and look for some more guidance on filling out the I-485. If you have the 10 years in your 40 credits, all you would be doing is on page 8, asking for that exemption and attaching your EAD cards front and back and that SSA statement showing the 10 years and the 40 credits. You're welcome, Ellie. You're welcome, Ismail. I just also want to know on the I-45, guys, whenever you answer yes to one of those questions, let's say, example, page 20, part 9, item 75, have you ever entered without inspection? And you say yes to that, you have to provide an explanation. You have to let them know, whatever year you enter without inspection, okay? So you have to provide explanations for those questions. Page 21, item 76, part 9. Again, if you did accrue unlawful presence, you have to, answer correctly, and you have to list those unlawful presence dates, okay? I know sometimes people get confused. Well, when are my unlawful presence dates? Okay, unlawful presence, if you came in without inspection, that is the first day, and then you accumulate it all the way until maybe the day you got, some type of status, which DACA is not really a status, but all the way until maybe the day you got DACA. You know what I mean? So you really have to you have to answer, you have to list your unlawful presence dates, okay? So every time you say yes to one of those questions, example, have you ever been arrested, cited, or charged? You say yes, you have to answer. You have to provide an explanation in the back, okay? And obviously, if it's an arrest, you have to have court certified documents explaining the disposition to that arrest. If it's a ticket over 500, the disposition that it was paid in full or resolved or whatever the case was. Oh, okay. Hi, Elizabeth. I'm sorry, I missed my signal was bad here. My question was DACA expires in January. Should I renew it now? Yes, please renew it now. Definitely. We definitely recommend renewing early. And right now we are in July and your DACA expires in January, so renew. Yes. Hello, Erica. So if I was brought here as a baby, does that mean I have to mark yes? And for the explanation, what should I put down? Okay. If you were brought in as a baby without inspection, then that question, have you ever entered without inspection, would still be a yes for you. And you would list your unlawful, okay, presence dates, whatever year you came in all the way to the day before you got DACA. Those are your unlawful presence dates. There's also instructions to the I-485 as well that will kind of explain further. Because even though you brought in as a minor, you were still brought in without inspection. So if you ever entered without inspection, you have to answer that question correctly. You're welcome, Elizabeth. So I'm kind of reiterate what I spoke about earlier. If you have the 10 years and the 40 credits, they are still issuing RFEs for the I-485. Answer that RFE. We have a cover letter in our guides. Follow the directions from that RFE. Submit your Social Security statement and page 8 of the I-485 asking to be exempt, along with that cover letter. You can upload your RFE into your USCIS online account. That way the officer will have direct access to it, okay? And again, whatever you answer yes to those questions on the I-485, you have to provide an explanation, okay? If you enter without inspection, then you have to be honest and answer. If you accrued unlawful presence, you have to be honest and answer. And again, if you've ever been arrested, cited, or charged, if you click on yes, you just have to provide an explanation, okay? And you have to provide evidence if you were ever arrested, the disposition to that arrest, and just try to get a court certified copy. You're welcome, Erica. Hello, Veronica. We are doing AOS through our daughter. I have the 40 credits, but my husband doesn't. Do we have to file an additional form do we have to file an additional form to file? Okay, so your daughter is going to be petitioning both parents, I assume, correct? If you have the 10 years and the 40 credits, then there's no need for you to submit. There's no need for your petitioner to submit an I-864 for you. If your husband does not have the 10 years and the 40 credits, and she is also petitioning for him, then she has to submit the I-864 for him. Again, you have the 10 years and the 40 credits. She does not have to file an 864 for you, but she has to file it for your husband, her father, because he does not have the 10 years and the 40 credits. Hello, Yendi. Can I just show 1 year of taxes, or is it a requirement to do 3 years? No. Actually, on the updated I-864, if you read the directions, it is not required for the petitioner to show 3 years of taxes anymore. Well, tax transcripts, please also, I'm going to speak about that in a minute. What you can do is just follow the instructions, and if you do not submit 22 and 23, just place NA in those boxes right next to it under total income. And you're going to be submitting, obviously, 2024 because that is the most recent year. So they're only going to need the 2024 tax return transcripts, along with, obviously, the petitioner's 2024 W-2s. Veronica, hello. Can I support my husband with the credits? No, you cannot, because you are not a legal permanent resident or a citizen, and your daughter is petitioning for you as well. Your daughter is just going to have to file an 864 for her father. But the good news is, if they live together, they can combine incomes. Just as long as your husband has, an EAD card giving him authorization to work, they can combine incomes. Leo Contreras, if you are concerned, please. I know we live in a time, like, unprecedented time right now, but just contact our attorneys on our attorney lists, and they will be more than happy to further, assist you if you're really concerned about what's going on, okay? You're welcome, Veronica. You're welcome, Yendi. Yendi, if my husband does not make enough money, but I do we still need a co-sponsor? If you and your spouse both live together, Yendi, obviously in a household, then you can just combine. If your petitioning husband does not make enough, you can, as long as you have work authorization, a current EAD card giving you work authorization, then you, Yendi, and your spouse can combine, okay? Again, if the petitioner is They are obligated, they have to fill out an 864 um, for their um, beneficiary because they are the petitioning sponsor. If they do not make enough, then the spouse, they can combine with their spouse. Obviously, if it's a daughter, if it's a child to parent case, then they can combine as long as they live together. So if you live in the same household, the petitioner and the beneficiary can combine incomes if the petitioner does not make enough. Years old. Sorry, just to clarify, so if I have the 40 credits, my daughter doesn't have to fill out 864. Just for my to mark in the I-45, page 8, and send the proof and cards. Correct. Easel, if you have the 10 years and the 40 credits, mark that you're asking for the exemption. First option on the I-45, page 8. Mark that option on page 8 that you are asking for the exemption because you have the 40 credits, and attach your EAD cards and your SSA statement. So it would be page 8 of I-45, mark that exemption, add in all your EAD cards front and back, and your Social Security statement because you have the 10 years and the 40 credits. Okay, guys, I'm going to be on for a few more minutes, and then I'll see you all next week, okay? Again, let's see. Okay, so if, the petitioner is following the 864, okay? The petitioner should download his tax return transcripts from the irs.gov website, okay? Now be careful when you're in the irs.gov website because they have account transcripts, they have, all other types of transcripts. You want to download the one that says taxes 1040 tax return transcripts, okay? That is the transcript that you're going to attach to your I-864, okay? Again, I see a lot of people using their tax returns, but ideally USCIS would like to see those tax return transcripts. You can get those from the irs.gov website, and we have some more information about those in our Facebook group as well. Irma, do we have to send copies of all our DACA cards? I think I would definitely advise to do that, front and back. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Erica. The forms that I need to fill out are the I-130 and the I-485. What other forms do I need? Can you please refresh my memory, Erica? Are you going to be adjusting through your spouse or your child? Because if your child is petitioning for you, if a child is petitioning for their parent, the beneficiary does not need to include an I-130A. If a U.S. citizen spouse is petitioning for his spouse, then an I-130A is needed. So if your child is petitioning for you, Erica, you do not need an I-130A. If your spouse is petitioning for you, then you need the I-130A as well. So ideally, it would be the I-130, the I-130A, the I-45, and obviously, if you do not have the 10 years and the 40 credits, it would be the I-864 from your petitioning sponsor. Hello, Yendi. For combining incomes, do we need to fill out another form? No, you do not. There is a section on the I-864 that asks if anyone else in the household is going to be combining incomes. If you are missing an EAD card, you can use a DECA approval notice or an I-765 approval notice for that year in lieu of that missing card. You are doing AOS through your daughter, Erica. You do not need an I-130A. You need the I-130, the I-485, and if you do not have the 10 years and the 40 credits, your sponsor needs to fill out the I-64. And then the other two that I'm going to speak about are optional. The I-765 permission to work and the I-131 permission to travel, but those are optional. Hi, Alba. Next week, same time. So definitely write down all your questions, okay? Okay, guys, I'll be on for a few more minutes, and then I believe I have an appointment coming up, so I can see you all next week. And also one more important thing. On the I-485, remember that addition date, okay? Addition date of 1/2025. Also on the I-765, remember the addition date. That is the optional form for permission to work. That addition date is 1/2025. And if you are concerned about getting an RFE because you are asking for the exemption because you have the 10 years and the 40 credits, then just have your petitioner file the traditional 864. Because just to let you know, you're going to ask for the exemption on page 8 of I-45. You're going to submit your EAD cards and your Social Security statement, and you might still get an RFE because, again, it is not necessarily the officer. It is the party before the officer that is reviewing the documents, scanning them, getting them ready for the officer that's looking for an I-64 and possibly issuing these RFEs, okay? But keep in mind as well that you have to make sure you are eligible for those 10 years and 40 credits before you send this out, okay? Make sure you have the 10 years and the 40 credits in your SSA statement, all your EAD cards front and back. That way, if you get an RFE, you could just answer it with the same documentation. And if you don't want to, risk an RFE, then just have your petitioner fill out the 864. If the petitioner does not make enough on their own, then just combine, as long as you live in the same household. The beneficiary and the petitioner, anyway. No, Maria, when you get there, just clarify it with the officer. It is around the corner, okay? You can also, if you're really worried about this question, again, just reach out to one of our attorneys. We have a whole attorney list in our group. They are all wonderful. And Scarlett, again, if you are worried about, the self-deportation or anything like that, just please reach out to one of our attorneys on our list in our Facebook group. They'll be able to answer that question for you. I definitely don't want you to live in worry, okay? All right, everyone. I had a really, really awesome time answering your questions. Oh, you're welcome, Maria. I'll have some more info on everything for you guys next week. Again, I'll just kind of reiterate what I've just said to you guys a few times. If you get RFEs, please answer them. They are very, very important to be answered, okay? Once you submit your cases, please, check for updates, whether it be fingerprints or interviews, because you don't want to miss any of that stuff. If you cannot attend a biometrics appointment or an interview, or whatever the case, just please reach out to them, okay? Call them, chat with Emma to get to a live agent. Just let them know why you cannot attend. Do not ignore any notices that you get, okay? You're welcome, Scarlett. You guys all have a great day, and I'll see you all next week, okay? Bye-bye.